You're now tuned in to the Two Dudes, One Ball Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome in, everybody, to another Two Dudes, One Ball Fantasy Football Podcast. It's Ryan Green, joined as always by Michael Eck. Another day down, another episode out. This was a lot of fun today, Mike, doing doing what we got planned. So what's going on?
Yeah, man. What's up, everybody? What's going on? I'm excited for today's episode. You can tell them what we got in store, man. I mean, I feel like, take it away, tell them what we got. I hope that people are excited as much as I am and you are. This was fun, what we set up for you guys today. So, let them know what we got.
We got more rankings, boys and girls. We got doing running back rankings today, as you can see in the title, obviously. I'm not sure why I didn't spoil it right off the rip, but, dude, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're actually incorporating the rookies more in detail now after the draft. This is still kind of early, but it's definitely a post-draft updated early rankings. And something we put a little more thought and effort into now that, it's June 1st. And that's the other thing. Happy June 1st, June 2nd, June 3rd. Trades are coming now, or should be coming. We're here, I mean, no further ado, man. I'm ready to go to your breaking balls, and we can start that off right off the bat, right?
Let's do it. Breaking balls.
Breaking balls. Ba, 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 ba.
All right, you want me to start it off here, or you got it?
Yeah, I mean, I just really quick, we can keep talking about the June 1st thing. So far, Julio has survived most of the day. He hasn't gotten traded. Seahawks have emerged. Other than that, he remains a Falcon right now. Maybe he gets drafted when we record this or before it goes live, maybe sometime in the morning or the next day. But right now, currently, he's a Falcon. What do you got next?
Just to add to that real quick, report came out that the Seahawks are in the mix. I don't know how much shoots behind it or what the Seahawks would be willing to give up. They already have two pretty good wide receivers, so not sure how realistic that is. But other than that, we got decent amount of news today. Delaney Walker, he visited with the Niners for a little tryout thing going on. Obviously, he's old. He lost a step. He's not what he once was. Probably just like you mentioned it before we went live. Sort of like that Jordan Reed type of replacement, a backup for Kittle if things go sideways.
Yeah, and Kittle, been dealing with injuries 2 years in a row now. And Reed played pretty well last year in his absence. So Delaney Walker, obviously, a little bit more healthier, just a little bit older than Reed. So this is pretty much that. I think you can't read more into that. Next news, to stay with the tight ends here. There's a report that 3 teams are interested in Zach Ertz, pending if he gets cut or traded. Chargers being one of them. I heard the Chargers were in the mix, and that really would hurt Jared Cook, who, I have done mocks, which we have ended our Memorial Mock Week. If you have not watched those videos, take a look, take a watch. They're fun, they're exciting, and in one of them, I drafted Jared Cook, I think, in round 14. As a plug-him-in tight end, the second option really for the Chargers, and I think it'd be a great fit for my team at that point and for Jared Cook. But if Zach Ertz emerges as their favorite and he goes there, or he finds his way on the Chargers, this could hurt Jared Cook.
Yeah. In other news, KJ Hamler tweaks his hamstring at practice or OTAs, whatever's going on now. Obviously, KJ Hamler's not super fantasy relevant, but he is the fifth-ish receiver on that team. So if he goes down, obviously Tim Patrick can get more work. Cortland Sutton coming back, get more work, and Jerry Jeudy incorporated in the slot. And it's just if it is serious, I'm not sure how serious it is, but if it does end up being serious, it's just more work for those guys.
Yep. Next, Burkhead signed with the Texans. Just the 4th running back they had there. Now it's David Johnson, Mark Ingram, Phillip Lindsay, and now Rex Burkhead. Pretty much backfield you want to avoid probably going into this year. It's just doesn't look pretty. The team itself doesn't look pretty, but that's just something they added today.
Yeah, I definitely would not be touching them. All right, another report that came out. The Saints are going to lean on their running backs heavily early on in the season. Now that's pretty much a given. They usually do anyway, but with the uncertainty at quarterback, they might have to do it a little more. So that Kamara, maybe you were worried about the running back situation there. Kamara is going to get his work. Should not shy away from Kamara at all. and Latavius Murray's still a late round handcuff guy to target.
Yeah, and last year when Breeze was out, Latavius Murray saw pretty much the same amount of playing time as Kamara, and they scored just as just not, I wouldn't say the same. Obviously, Kamara was better, but Latavius Murray put up points that you can have if you had if you have a deeper league and you have two flexes, he can get you those points. And if this is the case, could help take stress and relief off James Winston and or Taysom Hill, whoever the quarterback is right now. But yeah, so don't shy away. Kamara's gonna get his work. Next, Michael Carter, the New York Jets rookie from North Carolina, is mixing in well at the OTAs with the starters. He's rotating snaps. And this, I think it was a little earlier than expected for at least me, someone who's kind of excited for him. But there really is no one else there. Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson, there's no one else really there. So Michael Carter should really win that job, hopefully sooner rather than later, and jump up for you.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely a guy we've been targeting in our mocks in those later rounds, mid to late rounds. And hey, this is just a good sign, and it's early. It's early, so that's even better. Last bit of news today is Big Ben gave high praise to Najee Harris. He's a first-round capital running back, so there should be high praise there. But just hearing it from the starting quarterback, a guy like Ben who's been around the league for a while, it's good to hear.
Yeah, and absolutely. But Ben's doesn't really hype up a lot of players, but this is definitely he's giving the rookie high praise, and that's great. All right. With that, before we get into our rankings, we are incorporating our buy or sell, and today our buy or sell we're throwing up here. He is the wide receiver 18 on Sleepers rankings. He's the wide receiver 22 on other Fantasy Pros rankings in detail. So we're going to keep him at 18. And he is drafted at his average draft pick. His ADP is 45th. And that is Kenny Golladay of the New York Giants. Brian, we didn't tell each other what we're doing here. So we could both be on the same side. We could both be opposite. I'll let you start first. I want to hear your opinions as a guy that hits home. He just signed the bag with you guys in New York. What do you think? You think 18 is reasonable?
So are we doing buy as in buying that he'll finish as the wide receiver 18, or buying as in he'll finish higher?
Buy as he'll finish higher, 18 or higher. Sell as in he'll finish lower than 18.
Okay, yeah, then I'm going to buy it. I think 18 is too low for him. You pay him a lot of money, you go out and you get him. I understand there's a lot of mouths to feed there, but Saquon Barkley's not 100%. It's already been rumored that, which we'll touch on when we get to our rankings, that he's not going to be a full go to start the season, not his full workload. So, you pay a guy like him that amount of money, he's going to be playing a lot of snaps and he's going to be soaking up a lot of targets. So he's a guy that I think can easily finish as a wide receiver one, back end wide receiver one, that is. But I think 18 is way too low for him. And if you can get him in the fourth round, whatever his ADP ends up being, then I feel like that's a pretty good value.
Yeah, and I am actually going to agree with the buy. I actually thought maybe you were going to sell, because you're a Giants fan. I know you're excited for him to be there, but I wasn't sure if 18 was a little too high for him, anticipating that Daniel Jones hasn't really had great seasons. And obviously Barkley is your guy. I think the all-around guy, and that they have Kadarius Toney, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph. They have a lot of options there. Also, Daniel Jones can run a little bit, but I'm going to agree with buy. And one of my main reasons I'm buying is because the Giants' easier schedule. I think, in that division, especially against the Cowboys, he can really put up 2 30-point games against them. Against the Eagles, I think he can do the same. The football team might be one of his harder matchups, but you guys have, I think you're in the top 10 easiest schedules this year. I think Kenny Golladay 2 years ago emerged as a Lions top option. He was, I think, finished as a wide receiver 7 or 6 that year. Last year he was doing well, got hurt, didn't play again. They shut him down, didn't play, winds up leaving the Lions, going to the Giants. I think this can be a similar situation we see Diggs and Josh Allen took. I just don't think it's as drastic. I definitely think Kenny Golladay at 18, I will buy. I think he will finish realistically probably closer to wide receiver 1 numbers, maybe 14, 13, 12. All right, man. So with that, let's go on to our running back rankings. That's what we're here for. We did our buy or sell. You bought Galladay, I bought Galladay. Great stuff. Let's go into our rankings. As you see on the screen, it will say updated early running back rankings because we probably will have one more as we get closer to August draft season for us and draft season for many of you out there. So let's kick it off. We're going to do, how do you want to do this? You want to do this? You want to do our, you want to go our consensus, our average, or do you want to?
Let's start it off with our average. Talk about no, let's just go average all the way through because it gets mixed up towards the back end of this. So yeah, let's just go straight down with our average.
Okay, yeah, and as you guys noted, last time we did this, our running back 1 is 1 through 12, running back 2 is 13 to 24, running back 3 is 25 to 36, and I think we're going to stick with that. We ain't going to go that deep. We're not going to 37 because at that time you get to the guys who are really just handcuffs or extremely reaches. If you're in a really deep league and you have to play one of those guys, it's pretty much a shot in the dark. So with no further ado, one, I think this is a no-brainer. We both have him at 1, and that is Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
There's really nothing to really talk about this guy. You know, he's great. So we can just go on to number 2, who also might be a no-brainer. Awesome season last year. Our number 2 is Dalvin Cook on the Minnesota Vikings. Again, you know, pass catcher, awesome, athletic. As long as he stays healthy, he should be the only person that realistically might challenge McCaffrey at 1. Number 3. Now this changed from last time. I've had him at 3. Ryan had him at 5 last time, and now he's got him at 3 because of the early news that we've seen between Saquon and Kamara. And our third is Alvin Kamara. We both have him at 3, and I think this just, you know, again, was one of those things that no matter the quarterback situation, the Saints will work him in. You know, Sean Payton will get him the work. And there's really nothing to shy away from.
No, if obviously this is PPR. I know we spoke on this last time we did our rankings. We do all of our rankings in PPR format. So if someone wanted to, you know, have Henry one spot above him, and it wasn't a full PPR league or maybe half PPR, then you know that's perfectly fine. But in PPR, Kamara has to be here.
Why don't you take the next 3? We'll do it like that.
We'll go by threes, get through it. All right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So little spoiler before, but here's Henry. We have at 4. Kind of a no-brainer. He's the last guy in that upper echelon tier of running backs. Obviously, CMC's in a tier of his own, but it's Cook, Kamara, and Henry here. Like you touched on, the Saquon is not going to be at his full health. He's not, at least right now. And to begin the year, they're probably going to be limiting him. So, you know, Saquon unfortunately had to drop out of my top 3 rankings. So we got Henry here. Obviously, phenomenal running back, probably the best runner in the league. Crazy 2,000 yards last year. Stiff arms people's souls out of their bodies, and it's Henry. Anything you want to add to that?
I had him last year. I drafted him knowing he wasn't going to catch passes. I anticipated maybe he would because I lost Deion Lewis, but expect he's not going to do that. But he'll get your 2,000 yards, your highlight reels, throw him Josh Norman or somebody off of him like crazy, and he'll put up big numbers. And it doesn't look like a lot because he doesn't catch passes, but it is. Trust me, it is.
Yes, sir. So after Henry, finally, my guys here, Saquon Barkley. Unfortunately, he's still top 5, but he's out of that top tier, and he's here. He's still going to catch passes once he does get fully acclimated back to health, and he's worked in at his full workload. Hopefully, then he's going to be continuing to put up these elite numbers as we saw in 2018 when he was a rookie. Unfortunately, he's been riddled with injuries, so it's always a risk. But that's every player in fantasy is an injury risk. So, yeah, it's Saquon here at 5.
I agree. I mean, we both have him there. It's Saquon. You know, he's gonna be better than the guys we have coming up, but just that health for him.
Yeah. And then at 6, it's Ezekiel Elliott. Obviously, last year looked like he took a step back. However, a lot of things went wrong, a lot of offensive line injuries. Obviously, Dak Prescott went down. Andy Dalton even went down for a little bit. So a lot of things were working against Zeke. The fumbles were a problem, but it hasn't been a problem really his whole career. I don't expect that to continue. So I think Zeke, you have to put him here. He's one of the few guys left in the league who get full workhorse loads. And, you know, he's a guy you're going to have to take here.
Yeah, I mean, we noted earlier in our episodes when we did this that Zeke finished with the running back 9. Before Dak got hurt, he was the running back 4, and he was very good And then once Dak went down, offensive line started going down. Dalton went down. The defense was still bad. It just and then the fumbles, like that fumbles, and that really bothered him even in college. It's just maybe it was just like a fluke year. The whole thing was just everything wrong. Everything could have went wrong for Zeke last year, and he still finished running back 9, which is incredible. So I think he has a couple years left before he starts to really plummet. All right.
Agreed.
Next at number 8, or I'm sorry, number 7. I want to skip my boy here, Tommy. Watch out. Falls right in line where I'm drafting. Number 7, that is Austin Eckler. I have him at 7. Ryan's got him at 8. And this is where we have our first little discrepancy. But I think we come to the agreement that both these guys at 8 and 9, or 7 and 8, are pretty similar. But Eckler might have the one up just because this quarterback scenario is a little bit more set in stone. With that, let's go to quickly at number 8 is Aaron Jones. Without Rodgers, he might take a hit in his rankings. But for now, we're going to anticipate Jones is there. But with the risk of that's why Eckler's over him. Go back to Eckler. You got anything to say about him? I know they improved their O-line.
Yeah, I mean it's Eckler is his entire career is based on fantasy career is based on catching passes. Again, PPR formats, half PPR formats. It's an absolute asset to have a guy like him who's going to come out and get 9 to 10 targets a week as a running back on top of whatever he does on the ground. He's a very good running back for fantasy. And then Jones, obviously, you touched on the quarterback uncertainty. Aaron Jones is a guy who always seems to get it done, even if he's not getting 30 carries a week. He's a phenomenal runner. He catches the ball. He does a lot of good things. Now there's a little more risk with him, obviously. He does tend to disappear some weeks, but based on how good that offense is, pending Rodgers returning, he's a guy that has to be locked in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. He got a lot of disrespect last year. Aaron Jones going into this season, he really showed a lot of people up. But it's just the nuisance that Jamal Williams was last year. Now he's gone, and now they keep hyping up A.J. Dillon. They started using him towards the end of the season last year a little bit, so it could be A.J. Dillon taking over that Jamal Williams role, and then being a good handcuff that you could have this year. So with that, we'll go to number 9, and number 9 is Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb from the Cleveland Browns, another guy kind of like Henry, won't catch you a lot of passes in a PPR, half PPR league, but he'll get the job done, and that is for sure on the ground. He's behind one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. He is probably, in my eyes, the best running back. Like, he has great ball vision. He's got great ball skills. He's got great cuts. Everything just looks so smooth when you watch Nick Chubb. And he's due for like 150-yard, 25 plus 50-yard run a game. It's ridiculous how good he is. So he's definitely here locked in at number 9.
Yeah, Nick Chubb's a freak. You watch his games, he'll start off slow, like 8-9 carries for decent amount of 30 yards or something. Then all it takes is that one carry from Chubb, which he seems to get every game where he takes it for like 50 yards. He's a beast of a runner.
Yeah, I hate it, dude, because the vision thing, he's just so good, and he just noted he got hurt last year. He got hurt against the Cowboys, his MCL sprain, but he still finished dealing without as many passes, catching a lot of passes. He still finished running back 11, so he's still in the top 12.
Ridiculous. You missed 5 games or something like that?
He played a total of 11 games. Yes, he missed 5. And his target share percentage, which we won't get too into detail here, but he has targeted about 4% of their offensive snaps. So just take that in consideration. He barely gets in the passing range in the passing game, and he's still in running back 1. That means he puts up unbelievable numbers on the ground, and he's gonna do that. Averages almost 6 yards a carry, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, Chubb's amazing. I mean, you missed 5 games and you finish it at the 11th spot. He's
yeah.
nuts.
All right, man. You gotta take 10, 11, and 12.
My turn.
Let's wrap up the
So
RB1s.
At 10, we got Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, good rookie campaign. He did his thing out there. It took him a little bit to kind of get fully integrated into the offense, but we'll blame that on having no offseason. So Jonathan Taylor's a beast, and he's a guy deserves to be in this RB1 tier. Obviously, maybe his targets will go down a little bit with Phillip Rivers leaving, but that shouldn't affect him too much on the ground. They got a good offensive line there.
Yeah, I had him lower before. I had him outside the running back 1 range, but they, drafted our offensive lineman. They got, later in the rounds, they picked up the left tackle from the Chiefs. Schwartz, right?
I
So
think so, yeah.
it was either Schwartz or Fisher. Don't I know they're left and right tackles. Regardless, they answered that left tackle Canizaro leaving, so they answered the calls. They wanted to make Taylor the guy. I just some people might still have him at the 7, 6, 8 range. I can't because that will be because he doesn't get as many catches because Philip Rivers is gone and Wentz is now his quarterback. But still a
Yeah.
awesome rookie, second campaign guy here.
After Taylor, we got Joe Mixon. I have Joe Mixon at 11. You have him at 12, so he comes in at a consensus number 11. And obviously, look, Mixon, a lot of people give him hate, especially our league. I know guys always bust balls for whoever takes him in our mock drafts. But at the end of the day, before he got hurt last year, he was putting up solid numbers. He's the only guy there. They're already talking about giving him, they don't want him to leave the field. So just getting those workhorses, especially here, not investing that high first round pick into him. You're going to get him in the second. He's a good guy to have, and he's our RB11. And then at RB12 to round out our RB1s, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Obviously, again, another player a lot of people hate. He was super highly touted last year. People were drafting him in the first round, and he didn't really live up to that. He didn't have a bad season at all. I mean, until he got hurt, he was like the RB12. I know it was a bad running back year last year, but still, he put up those solid numbers for you. And if you can snag him in the second round and have him as your RB2, and we have him ranked here as our RB12, and it's good value to have.
Yeah, another team that improved their O-line heavily. Probably one of the most improved offensive lines in the league. Mainly just because I don't see Mahomes running a lot. But yeah, he's another guy. Not just Mahomes will benefit, but he'll benefit from that. So Clyde Edwards has to increase. We'll go to our running back 2 range here. Now we're starting at running back 13 overall, and that is Antonio Gibson. He comes in at 13 for me and 14 for you. So our consensus, he's at 13. Antonio Gibson, the news came out that they wanted him to run pass routes more and catch more passes. He was a wide receiver by trade in college, came to the NFL. They switched him to a running back. He's got that in his nature. He already was really good last year as a rookie. You could, towards the end of the season, he did fall off a little bit, but he was phenomenal.
He was banged up a little bit.
Yeah, he was phenomenal when he was healthy. The team answered the quarterback play with, it's not a great increase, but it is Ryan Fitzpatrick who will do a lot better than the guys they had. So there's nothing but love here for the second-year running back guy, and Antonio Gibson.
No doubt.
All right, at 14 is my home guy, J.K. Dobbins. For me, he comes in at 11. For Ryan, he's at 16, so consensus he will be 14. Now, Dobbins, I have him a little bit higher than Ryan, only because I stated multiple times that the Ravens are the heaviest running attack team in the NFL. With him, Lamar, and Gus, they'll all get their fair share. They've ran for over 8,000 yards in the last 3 years combined. He's going to get his work, and he looked phenomenal last year as a rookie. Made some rookie mistakes in the pass block, but I think he'll work on that, get that down pat. He's going to be on the field majority of the time. He scored every game last year, and the last 9 games, he averaged the most yards per carry. The dude, as long as he's healthy, he's going to be great for fantasy. And, Lamar can rely on him in the close passing games and the read options and towards the red zone. He's someone not, don't be, he might be a little bit smaller height-wise, but he's built and stocky, and he's a great, fierce running back.
Yeah. I'll touch on these 3 guys after you get.
Okay. At 15, to wrap up these 3, at 15 is Najee Harris. He comes in at 15 for both of us, which I honestly thought maybe you were going to have a little bit higher than me. But Najee, the dream scenario for him getting drafted by the Steelers. There's no real running back room there. They've tried running backs, McFarland and Benny Snell in the last 2 years who've been strikeouts, and then James Conner obviously dealt with injuries, and now he left and he's on the Cardinals. So Najee has a perfect scenario here where he'll be a bell cow, should get a lot of work on a good offense, battle line, but Ben can work with that, pass to him a lot. The team might be relying more on the passing work, and Ben hasn't in the last year didn't take a lot of deep targets. He's took a lot of short throws, and Najee can work with that, the passing, the backfield, and could be very good at high RB2 here.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna real quick, just a couple words on each of these players, starting with Gibson. Obviously their defense on the Washington football team is phenomenal, so that only leads to better game scripts for him. With the leaving of Alex Smith, the dump off game with J.D. McKissick is going to slowly decrease, and it's going to be more Gibson. They already are talking about, as you said, running more passing routes. So if he's on the field more, he's going to be even better than he was last year, and he was great last year. Dobbins, the only thing that it worries me for Dobbins that I have him a little lower than you is obviously Lamar takes a lot of those goal line carries. Um, Lamar is their main runner, so it's just it hurts him a little bit, but he's still a solid runner as you said. He runs fierce, he's stocky. And then Najee, again, the only reason he's not higher for me, the offensive line problems.
Yep.
That offense looked brutal to end the season. So it's I know it's recency bias, but and they usually do have good running backs, but we haven't seen it out of Connor in a couple of years. So and he's a rookie. So the guys we have above him are on their sophomore years, and they tend to perform a little bit better than the rookie. So that's the only reason he's slightly lower.
Yeah. Real quick, unpopular opinion: Dobbins finished with more rushing yards than Lamar. I know Lamar usually has 1,000 yards. Dobbins will beat him. Calling it.
Okay.
Should be easy, but because he
I mean,
is
he
a running
should.
back. He's a running back by trade, but that's just how good Lamar is and runs. So
Right.
go ahead,
All
take
right.
16, 17, and 18.
All right. So at 16, we have Cam Akers here. I'm actually really high on Akers. I have him at, what is that, 13?
Yep.
Or, yeah, 13.
13.
And you have him here at 16. So he comes in at our consensus 16. After Akers, we got Chris Carson. We both have him at 17. And then Josh Jacobs, who we both have at 18. Now, Akers obviously started off the year slow. He was dealing with injuries, a couple of runners to compete with there. And then once he took that role over, there was no looking back. He looked phenomenal out there on the field. I only expect them to get better with Matt Stafford there, who's obviously a better quarterback than Jared Goff. As far as Chris Carson goes, Carson's always a solid RB2, no matter what. He's paired with Russ and a good offense. He gets the goal line carries, he catches some passes, so he's just a solid RB2. And Josh Jacobs, I know on our first rankings I was super low on him. We both were, but upon further review, as we said many times, there was always a guy in there on third downs. That was never really Jacobs' role. So if we're looking at Jacobs, how he's been the last couple of years, and his ADP is falling like it is, then he's a great value, and he should still be ranked within the top 20.
Yeah, I mean, just to know all those. Yeah, Akers is a guy who, he struck gold a little bit too late for my liking last year. That's why I think he might take him a little while this year. But yeah, they lost Darrell Henderson, right? I mean, Malcolm Brown. They have Darrell Henderson still there, so he should start and be the starter, and obviously increased quarterback play from Stafford to Goff, so that helps him as well. And then going to Chris Carson, I think you hit the nail on the head. He's a phenomenal running back too for a great team, great offense. He'll get those goal line carries, and with Russ back there, and then Josh Jacobs, always. Whether it's, last year of being Booker or 2 years ago was Richard, Jacobs really doesn't play on third down. He makes the most of his money on first and second down and, goal line carries. He's in on the goal line. You can guarantee that, and he'll get you touchdowns. He'll get you work, and he's a phenomenal runner, so that's why we have to respect that out of him. 2 years ago or last year, even not playing a lot on third down, he still finishes the RB8. So, yeah, that's it. Jacobs, man. At number 19 here, we have Miles Sanders. For me, he is 19, and for you, he's 21. I guess I'm going to run down the line too. For Demont, it comes in at 20. Now, you have Demont at 19. I have Demont, and that's David Montgomery or the Chicago Bears. I have him at 23. And then DeAndre Swift at 21. You have him at 20. I have him at 22. Now, Miles Sanders is a guy on the Eagles who deals with a little bit of injuries, but I think he'll definitely help Jalen Hurts, and I think that team's going to go more of a rushing attack. Bring in some rookies. The O-line still was banged up last year. If they get healthy, he can still be able to run behind that O-line. He looked good in some games. I mean, I remember that Steeler game where they expected him to do nothing. He looked phenomenal. If he can look like that every game, he'll blow us out of the water, and he'll be RB1. David Montgomery is a guy who had a great season last year due to Cohen going out and a little bit easier of a schedule. And he was the only piece of that offense besides Allen Robinson was David Montgomery. A little bit tougher schedule this year. They didn't really improve their O-line. Justin Fields is now probably going to take quarterback, or Andy Dalton. David Montgomery has Cohen back as well, so expect him to go down a little bit more. And then DeAndre Swift here at 21. DeAndre Swift is dealing with Jamal Williams, who we saw take work from Aaron Jones. DeAndre Swift is also changing his quarterback to Jared Goff. And I think out of all the second-year running backs, he might be one of the lower-end ones just because his team isn't very good. The Lions are not going to be good, and they don't really have a lot of passing options. Their offense as a whole lacks receivers. Yeah, he might. The only thing that's really keeping him up there is the fact that he will receive the ball and pass, in the passing game. So that's why he's up here at 22 for 21 for me, for us.
Yeah, no doubt. Sanders, obviously, a guy I was super high on last year. Didn't really work out. He's always seems to be banged up. They always seem to be going to some sort of committee. So it's really not enjoyable, but he'll still have those big games, which is what props him up into this the 20 range. As far as David Montgomery goes, I mean, we talked about it before. His matchups to end the season last year really sent him out on a high note, which is why we're gonna see a lot of people, maybe reach for him. But in the grand scheme of things, that team's not good. They're gonna be dealing with their offense is not that good. They're going to be dealing with a rookie quarterback or Andy Dalton, which both, could be huge question marks. So I think he takes a step down. That's why we got him down here in the 20 range. And then Swift, you got it perfectly. I mean, there's a lesser play at quarterback. Their offense, their team as a whole was really bad. They're not trying to win. They're trying to rebuild. So, if they can limit touches for one of their promising future running backs, I feel like they'll do it and maybe use this year as like a get right year and see what happens in the future, but not super high on Swift, and that's why he rounds out here.
Yeah. Take the end of the RB2s.
Yeah, to round out the RB2s, we got Melvin Gordon here at 22. Chase Edmonds at 23 and Myles Gaskin at 24. Obviously, Gordon has a rookie running back to compete with, so he's dropping out. Rookie running back who is very good, and I'm pretty high on here. Chase Edmonds has only a washed, injury-prone James Conner to compete with, and Edmonds did decent when Drake was the main guy anyway. So he had standalone value regardless of who else was there, and I think his workload's only going to increase. And as far as Myles Gaskin goes, I know we tweeted about it on our account. One of the few winners in fantasy football this year was Myles Gaskin. They didn't draft any running backs. I know they were planning on supposedly taking one, but got jumped. So it's Gaskin there. He's going to be taking on that full workload. And even if that offense isn't super explosive, we saw him get it done last year. And I think that offense only improved. So see how it goes.
Yeah, I was really high on Gordon. If you guys remember the other episode, or earlier episode, I think it was episode 2, we did our rankings, or early running back rankings, or maybe it was episode 1. Either or, go watch them. Just watch them all. I had Melvin Gordon actually in the running back 1 because I love that the fact that Pat Shurmur utilizes one running back, and that is his offensive coordinator. I love the fact that Philip Lindsay is gone. Teddy Bridgewater is better than Drew Lock, but now after the draft, obviously bringing in Javonte Williams, who's a good running back, a good rookie running back out of UNC. Gordon's going to fall down here, and he's going to fall. I think he only falls this low because the rookie running back will take over eventually, and that offense, even if it is Bridgewater, is not going to be so much better, but obviously better than Locke. So that's why he's going to fall down a bit. Chase Edmonds, again, Ryan, you said it great. No more Kenyon Drake, and he always just has to beat out James Conner, who's pretty much washed and injury prone. So it's just him. So he's going to be that low end RB2. And then Myles Gaskin, we tweeted it that he won. The Dolphins didn't draft anybody. Myles Gaskin looked phenomenal last year towards the end of the season when they actually utilized him and he was healthy. He was a great player you could plug in and have your week-to-week matchups. And, Dolphins not drafting anybody. He's going to be another potential late 6th, 7th round kind of guy you can sneak in there, 5th round guy, you get for running back 2 and maybe potentially play him as your flex, debating how you like your team, and it could be great for fantasy. Yeah. I don't know. Did you touch that? I had him up at 21. I'm a little bit higher than him.
I did.
Okay. I had him at 21. You have him at 28. So we are indifferent, but that's why consensus he is our 24 and rounds out the RB2s. So with that, we'll start with the RB3s. Now, these guys, again, are getting deeper and more of a stretchier, but, have potential upside. So in the running back 3 range, start off at 25. Travis Etienne, the rookie in the Jacksonville Jaguars. behind James Robinson. Etienne is reunited with his college quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, and they're working with him on the passing work. And I think eventually in time they didn't waste, but they used a high first round draft capital to pick him. He's going to be utilized eventually, so you can't ignore the fact of that. He's eventually probably, most likely, we're going to keep saying it, take the work away from James Robinson and be that lead back for them in time. So that's why he's going to be ranked higher so far than James Robinson. At 26, we have Mike Davis. Now, Mike Davis is a guy who is going to be the only running back right now, pretty much, for the Atlanta Falcons. There's no one really around him to take any work from him. However, last year on the Carolina Panthers, when McCaffrey went down, it was the same sort of scenario. Early on, he looked phenomenal, looked great, looked unstoppable. And towards the end, when McCaffrey went down the second time, Curtis Samuel looked like a better running back than he did in the backfield. So that's why it hurts Mike Davis's rankings this year a little bit, going to a team that really is needing a running back. And Mike Davis is still going to be a high-end RB3, low-end RB2. Coming in at 27 is Kareem Hunt. You have him at 24 in the running back 2. I have him right here at 27. Kareem Hunt's a guy, behind Nick Chubb, but he'll still get the work. He is the pass catcher of the Cleveland Browns on a team that's improved a lot in the last few years. Baker, he comes in on second down, third down, whatever, with Chubb. Baker will look to him, not Chubb, so he is the pass-catching running back. He got a lot of touchdowns last year, and when Nick Chubb missed, Kareem Hunt looked to be the only running back there, but didn't excel as much, so they like him in this role as that second guy, that running back, that pass-catching running back that they can use him, sling him out in the slot while Chubb is still in the backfield, and you have that 1-2 punch at the running back position.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really high on ETN as well. I have him as my RB22. I just think we've seen it too often the last couple of years. These rookie running backs come in. It takes them, maybe 6-7 weeks, but eventually they take over and start really producing for you. So I like ETN. As far as Mike Davis goes, you said it. He's the only guy there. These guys are volume plays at this point, and Mike Davis is going to get all the volume on the Falcons, who are going to be an explosive offense as they always are. And then Kareem Hunt at this point, he's a guy you plug in behind Nick Chubb on that team, and he's going to come in, he's going to catch passes and maybe steal a couple touchdowns. So he's good for that, 10-ish points a week. And you plug him in as your flex / your backup running back, and you make it work. All right, let's get into our next 3 here.
Yeah, go ahead.
At 28, we got James Robinson. 29, we got Raheem Mostert. And at 30, we got Michael Carter on the Jets. Now, James Robinson, obviously, it's ETN is what's hurting him, as we just touched on. He's the rookie, and I expect James Robinson to take that role in the beginning and slowly lose it. He was undrafted. They owe him nothing, and I think that that's huge. As you always point out that I say, follow the money. And there is no money with Robinson. As far as Mostert goes, he's the lead back until he gets hurt on a good running team in the Niners. And he's a guy you can rely on until he gets hurt, because it is inevitable. And Michael Carter on the Jets, as we touched on in our breaking ball segment, he's already working in with the ones. There's not much quality running back competition there. There is competition, but they're not good. So if he can come in and show that he's better than them, which I think he will, then he's a guy you can, snag later and, bank on him eventually.
Yeah, and just start down the line, James Robinson, another guy I had in the running back 1 in our first early rankings. However, the draft night really skewed that all up and put him all the way down here in the running back 3 range, because ETN is really good. I actually liked him more than Najee, but Najee's landing spot's a lot better, in my opinion, than where ETN's at right now for starting purposes. So that's why we still have to respect the fact that he'll probably start, but he will lose touches and will eventually probably lose his role because he's an undrafted free agent and ETN was a high draft capital. So that's why he's here at 28. Mostert, dude, you're right on point there. He is a starter. He will start, but he will get hurt. So we have to respect the fact that he starts. He will be good until he gets hurt. And then Michael Carter is a guy, another rookie who, once he wins that locker room for the Jets, he should be the only guy receiving touch work there. And the left side of that offensive line is getting big and bulky. Maybe in a year or two, he'll be in contention for a higher running back 2 instead of a higher running back 3. Next, at 31, we have Javonte Williams of the Denver Broncos. 32, 32, we have Damian Harris of the New England Patriots, and at 33, we have James Conner. Now, Javonte Williams, again, a rookie behind Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon gets hurt, time to time, deals with injuries. Philip Lindsay didn't do much last year, but we have seen Lindsay, 2 years ago do work. Now that he's gone, Javonte Williams might take over that role. Ryan is actually a little bit higher than me. Ryan's got him at 27. I have Javonte Williams at 32, just because of the fact that I think Pat Shermer, the offensive coordinator, he likes, like I said, uses one running back. So he's going to utilize one guy. Then maybe when that bye week comes around, they start realizing that they have this Javonte Williams running back who they can start incorporating him, or Melvin Gordon gets hurt and things go south, so he'll take over. Regardless, he's still a rookie, and it's very uncertain with rookies, so you always got to take in consideration he was a higher draft pick. He could be utilized early. Damian Harris at 32. Damian Harris is eventually going to win that running back core in New England. He looked to be the best running back. He's better than Michelle. White's the pass catcher, and then Cam Newton takes carries away from him. It's just that team's very uncertain. That offense is shaky, so it's kind of like steer away. They can go out all different types of routes, so that's why he's down this low. And then James Conner at 33, solely because he's washed. He gets injured a lot, and he signed a 1-year pretty much dirt deal in the Arizona Cardinals, so he's not going to get a lot of work there.
Yeah, dude, I have nothing to add to that. You literally hit it on the head. Again, as I said with ETN, it's only a matter of time before Javonte Williams does take over. It is inevitable. Damian Harris, a guy who has the potential to lead a backfield, so that's why he's here. And James Conner has the potential to, have a 50-50 split on a solid offense. So I think they're slotted perfectly.
All right, the last three.
We got Devin Singletary here at 34. Ronald Jones at 35, and at 36, another buck, and it's Fournette. I know you guys might think it's a little weird. We have 2 bucks here back to back, but you gotta understand it's back end RB3 range. They can both finish around the same area. They both are going to be splitting work. I think Ronald Jones is more explosive on the ground. Fournette offers a little more pass catching upside. And as far as Singletary goes, if he does, take the stronghold on that, lead back role for a dynamic offense in the Bills, then these guys can be, late round sort of. If you go wide receiver early in your draft and you want to target guys like this later on, it's a perfect strategy to do. And these are the guys you should be looking at.
Yeah, Singletary, coming in. The Bills don't really have any other options besides Zach Moss, who didn't look very well last year. Singletary did look better. So Singletary's going to fall on here. That team's a very pass-heavy team. And then, like you said, man, Rojo, Ronald Jones, and Leonard Fournette, same team. Very shaky team. The only reason, I like Rojo more because he's more explosive. Leonard Fournette, career average, 3 yards a carry. It's not really that good on the ground game, but he can pass catch. Rojo struggles with that. I think if one of them goes down, the other one goes up a lot. So, and they have an easy schedule, so we'll have to see how that pans out for now. Both of them being healthy. And I know they also did add Giovanni Bernard, so that kind of sucks too. And then Keyshawn Vaughn's there, and they like him too, the second year back.
Yeah.
So
it's a dart throw, man.
It is a dart throw. So, but needless to say, they're both going to be rounding out our running back threes, and that's pretty much it for the running backs. Everybody else after that's a lot of handcuffs. We do have David Johnson, who's around there. No honorable mentions. Latavius Murray, again, a handcuff, honorable mention. Naheem Hines, honorable mention. J.D. McKissick, who received a lot of work in the passing game last year, honorable mention.
Kenyon Drake,
another new team, could be used as a wide receiver, honorable mention. People like that.
Trey Sermon is another one. He's right on the cusp here.
Trey Sermon is
a guy
definitely on
we're
the
all
cusp.
high on, but it's just, and he'll move up obviously as we get closer to August when stuff starts really getting good. But he literally just missed our cutoff here. I have him at 37, so right outside, and I believe you have him fairly high as well.
I have him. I have him right now at 44, but that is just because he is the third running back still, or fourth running back still in that team. I think eventually, I will adjust that. He have all
As
the
more reports come out, obviously.
Yeah, out of all the rookies out there, he is the one that's probably in the worst scenario but he has the best coach probably for the running backs, just because that's what Kyle Shanahan does. But he needs to get his way to the top, and we come closer to August, maybe someone gets hurt or maybe something happens. They make moves. Maybe they like him more. He looks good on film, looks whatever on practice. So we'll have to see. But for now, he's still in that handcuff range for me, as all the other running backs I mentioned.
Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah,
Well-
awesome. That was, obviously a little bit more accurate, I think, for our rankings in the pre-draft. As we get more updated, we have more to go off of. So we're going to keep updating these. And, we'll do another episode close to August, like we mentioned, of probably our final pre-draft rankings, or pre-fantasy football draft rankings. And,
and on Friday, what do we got? Receivers.
Yeah, we'll
So
be doing.
go in depth on receivers.
Yep, and we'll do a lot more there because some leagues do 3. So we'll probably, instead of doing 3, like wide receiver 1, 2, 3, we'll probably do wide receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So that's probably 60. If I do my math right, 5 times 12, 60.
Yeah, we'll see how the time works out with that.
That might get a little sticky too, because that's getting down to the thick of things. I already know it. All right, so and then we'll have our QBs and tight ends together in another episode, probably sometime next week for y'all. Other than that, drop a like, turn the bell on as usual. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter at 2dudes1ball FF on Instagram. That is the number 2 and the number 1. And on Twitter, it's at 2dudes1ball. That is the number 2 and the number 1 on the screen. You see it. Drop a like.
Yeah.
Follow us. Comment. Tell us, hey, you like someone at a certain spot? We're crazy for having someone in a certain spot. Let us know. We got a link tree in our description. You can click that and say your tips, questions, concerns anonymously if you would like. Regardless, like, subscribe, comment below. And peace and love from me, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.
Shout out the Nets. God bless.
Thank you for listening to the 2 Dudes 1 Ball Fantasy Football Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and comment below.